All right guys, today we're checking out the Lectric XP4. So we're out here in the Grand Canyon. We got Sully over here and we are test riding, and this is a first look at the Lectric XP models. So this is dropping in May, and basically we were invited here to try out the 500 watt version as well as the 750 watt version. So most of this is just kind of like first impression stuff. One of our favorite bikes is the XP Lite 2.0. We reviewed that on the channel, check it out. It's kind of a similar design, but obviously it has the cargo rack and a couple other upgrades as well. So yeah, first impressions, the lines are very symmetrical. They run parallel depending on how you look at it. All the angles are very clean. It just has a very industrial design, a well thought out design. We were at the presentation at the IMAX Theater in the Grand Canyon, and we kind of saw all of the features in a really nice presentation that they put together. My favorite color is the raindrop blue, whether it's the XP4 or even the XP Lite. When I see this color from far away, I immediately recognize it as electric bike. And they do have two flavors of this model. This is the 500 watt version. It's also a step through. And then we have the high step and a 750 watt version as well. I feel like depending on how you like to ride, you'll definitely find a bike that fits you the best. But to be honest, as a short rider, whether it's the step through or the high step, it fits me fine. So let's get into some of the details here. So the first thing that you notice are these 20 by 3 inch tires. It just feels really easy to handle and maneuver. It's kind of like a BMX style size. It has this mixed terrain tread, so you'll notice it's kind of like street smooth in the center, and then as you go outward it kind of turns into a knobby tire, and then if you need to transition for whatever reason to grass or off-road or rocks or whatever, it can still handle it. But in my opinion, just riding it out here, sticking to pavement is really where this bike shines. Not exactly sure what fork this is, probably similar to the previous version. Not a ton of travel, but you still have your preload adjustment, your lockout adjustment, integrated front fender, really bright integrated front headlight, great for riding at night. You have the front mounts over here if you need to add a front basket. You got the electric lock that's integrated on the bottom of the frame, so you don't have to carry a big chain lock that's like wrapped around the bike. Water bottle holder, this carrying handle, which is really handy for transporting the bike, but it also acts as a stabilizer for, you know, a step through bike. Usually cheaper competitors of Lectric, they don't actually have this stabilizer bar. So when they make these step through cargo bikes, once you start adding cargo, it starts to wobble around and makes it really hard to control. Seeing this bar over here is always a plus. Always look for something like this when you're looking at a cargo electric bike. We got the foldable stem over here, and a big difference now for the XP4 is that it has a 0 degree angle for the stem. So instead of it kind of like going outwards, now it just kind of goes straight up. It's angled a little bit forward. So depending on if you're a taller rider or a shorter rider, having the bars closer to you makes it, I guess, like easier to ride. So another key feature is this side key location and charging port, and you have the on off button over here. So having this option actually allows for keyless riding, which is ideal. I believe the previous version, the key ignition was like on the bottom and the keys were hanging out. Now in terms of power, you could do a 10.4 amp hour battery, and that'll give you about 50 miles of range, or you could opt for a 17.5 amp hour battery for the XP4 750, and that'll give you an estimated range of about 85 miles. It's also compatible with an optional 5 amp charger, which actually makes it a little bit quicker than previous models. It decreases the charging times by about 60%. Allows you to charge it in about 2 hours. And of course, their battery is always UL certified. We got kind of the standard Lectric branded saddle seat over here, decent amount of cushion. Then we have something called the level up rack, and this allows you to carry like a Yep seat, a buddy seat, or cargo up to about 150 pounds. This also has an integrated rear fender, and these fenders are actually made of polypropylene instead of metal, and so it allows you to kind of bend it. It won't deform or anything like that. Here's a look at the integrated taillight, nice and bright. You do have the signals over here, as well as the brake functionality when you squeeze the brakes. So having this back here, especially when you're carrying cargo, is really great for safety when riding at night. Now for the brakes, we have these 602 hydraulic disc brakes. The rotor thickness was actually increased. It's paired with these aluminum levers, and so Star Union is the brand, and 602 was specifically made for these Lectric bikes. So plenty plenty of stopping power for the weight of this bike. So this XP4 model is actually a 500 watt motor. In the presentation, they actually did a dyno test with some of their competitors that advertised similar bikes as 750 watt motors. And apparently the 500 watt was able to surpass a lot of those specs. Even though it's 500 watt, it actually feels much stronger. And then if you opt for the 700 watt or the other models, you'll definitely have an increase in power and off-the-line torque. Here's a look at the 8-speed Shimano Altis drivetrain and a massive 56-tooth chainring with a dual-sided chain guard. So yeah, having this really big chainring means you have just stronger torque, stronger low end when you're pedaling. Up top, we have the ergonomic rubber grips, the side-mounted thumb throttle, display controls with your signal switches right here. And another upgrade that they did was a detachable TFT display. So the reason that they did this was that sometimes when you ship the bike, the display actually gets cracked or damaged during shipping. So now this thing is shipped separately and it allows you to just kind of like slide it in and it plugs right in, no issues there. So having that modularity is really great, especially if you need a replacement. It's easy enough to get that thing replaced and plugged in. I also like the UX design, very clean. It doesn't have just like unnecessary data. Here you have Eco, Tour, Sport, Sport Plus, Turbo. You'll notice that when you're hitting the signal, it actually gives you an indicator right there. So yeah, just a really clean design. It's not cluttered. You also have like different data as you scroll through the main menu. Things like the RPM, your trip distance, obviously odometer, and other stats like your input power, depending on what ride mode you're in and how much you're pedaling, your motor power, the amount of amps you're using, and the voltage on the battery. So yeah, these are actually, kind of sophisticated stats for this class of e-bike. You typically don't see that in the stock display. So really cool feature. You got the integrated bell. We have the Altis 8-speed shifter over here. It's a trigger shifter. I typically keep it on, a high gear 7 or 8. They do have a custom torque sensor where it gives you a very naturalistic feeling when you're pedaling, but then when it hits the top end, there's like cadence capabilities. Yeah, I'll just show you guys how this thing folds up. Basically, you hit this lever over here, unlatch it, hit the top latch up here for the stem, pull down, fold down, get your pedals horizontal, and then you squeeze it together like so. And on the bottom of the frame, there's like a little stand right there. So that's what it looks like folded up. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention is the quick release pedals. So this is a proprietary system specific for Lectric. And basically you can just kind of pull up the sleeve up here and the pedals just come right off. So again, great for transportation, portability, things like that. Sometimes they have the fold-up pedals, but those can get tricky. Those things can like snap into your finger. This is just like, boom, pop the sleeve up, in, pop the sleeve up, out, just like that. It's a really cool system. I've never seen other bikes do that. So shout out to Lectric for designing that. Now that we've gone over all the features of the Lectric XP4, let's take it out for its first ride.
The Lectric XP4 is a folding electric bike built for riders who need a compact ride without sacrificing performance. It rolls on 20 by 3-inch hybrid tread tires, paired with a 0-degree stem for a smoother riding position. Upgrades from the XP3 include a 90-lumen headlight, Star Union hydraulic disc brakes with thicker rotors, and a redesigned button pad with turn signal controls. The 8-speed shifter feels snappy, and you've got a below-the-bar thumb throttle paired with a 3.5-inch detachable TFT display. Riders can toggle between 5 modes and dial in up to 96 configurations in the new ride settings menu. There's also a custom 56-tooth chainring and an in-house torque sensor that smooths out pedal assist with less cadence required. Power options include either a 500-watt or 750-watt rear hub motor, backed by your choice of a 10.4 or 17.5 amp-hour UL-certified battery. You'll find a new charging port and power button in a better location that also includes keyless startup. There's also the choice of a step-through or high-step frame, and the new level-up rear rack can handle up to 150 pounds for cargo or passengers. The upgraded taillight has integrated brake light and turn signals, which is perfect for night rides. Add in quick-release custom pedals and tough polypropylene fenders, and you've got a well-rounded foldable e-bike with Lectric's signature style.
All right, guys, first ride with the Lectric XP4. We're going to do 2 rides, 2 demonstrations here. This is actually the Raindrop Blue step through, and then there's also the green version, which is a high step. The motor is also 500 watts, and then there's also a 750 watt version. All right, so let's get on the bike here. Very comfortable. I can easily flat foot it if I need to. There's a 0-degree angle now for the handlebars, so it actually comes in closer. So depending on if you're taller or shorter, it makes it just, I guess, easier, more comfortable when you're riding. And we'll just get right into it. Turn the bike on, and we'll start in eco mode and no throttle. Just get right into it. And that feels really good. Again, Lectric has their custom torque sensor. It's kind of like a combination of a torque sensor and a cadence sensor. So I think on the low end, you get the torque sensation, right? You get sort of that efficiency with the voltage. And then I think once you get to that top end is where sort of the cadence qualities kick in. So yeah, just on eco mode, very easy to ride. You know, it takes a little bit of effort. You want to get that exercise, but once you're up to speed, no issue. Let's bump it up to tour mode. So the second mode is now tour mode, and a little bit more power into the motor. Still got to like really pedal to get it moving. Power to weight ratio, depending on if you're going up a hill, if you're going downhill, you're gonna have to put more effort, right? Not a huge difference between eco and tour, but it's there. Let's bump it up to sport mode now. Okay, sport mode, still no throttle. Yeah, that feels good. That actually feels like the right mode. And then, yeah, more power once you get up to speed, right? No throttle, kick in, get up to speed, sport mode. Yeah. Very nice. What's next? Sport Plus. Okay, Sport Plus and instant torque with the pedaling. This is actually probably the mode I would probably stick with, Sport Plus. The next mode up is turbo mode. All right, turbo mode. Here we go. Way faster response with the torque sensor. And this is like when you have like a lot of ground to cover, no real intersections, just straight road, and turbo mode is perfect for that. Wow, 22 miles per hour in just that little strip of road right there. All right, now let's give it some throttle, some pedaling, some throttle. The way I like to modulate the throttle is, you know, kind of when I don't really want the torque sensor sensation, when I kind of like want to rest my legs a little bit, then I'll use the throttle a little bit. And so what I love about Lectric's bikes is that it's really easy and intuitive to modulate between the two, depending on like how much effort you want to put in and how to adapt to that terrain. And in terms of like the motor power, this is the 500 watt version, but it definitely feels like more. And during the presentation that we saw with the Lectric team, they actually dynoed their 500 watt against 750 watt versions of their competitors, and the 500 watt actually performed way better. Believe it or not, like performs as a 750 watt, even though it's technically a 500 watt. The motor is it's a Stealth 24, so like it's very quiet, but it has like just like so much off the line torque. I mean, way more power than what you would think a 500 watt motor can deliver. Just the fact that they offer a bigger 750 watt motor in sort of the other flavors of colors and stuff, and like high step or step through, is just like another way to kind of like personalize your ride. Okay, and now I'm on the 750 watt version of the XP4, and it's a subtle difference, but definitely, you know, way more torque off the line. Pedal assist, I'm on gear 3. Feels very smooth, Torque sensor, again, that custom torque sensor with the cadence at the top end is the same as the 500 watt in my opinion. But you definitely feel just that extra power. I think especially when you hit that throttle, the throttle gives you just like a lot more off the line. For, I think, more experienced riders or people who maybe ride in the city and just need that little extra push, I think the 750 watt is going to be a good option for them. You could definitely feel it when you compare back to back 500 watt and 750 watt. So I'm used to, like, you know, having peak power above 1,000 watts. And so, yeah. And the quietness of their motors are just so cool. And another thing with this bike, even though it's the high step version, it still fits me pretty well as a short rider. I think if you were shorter than me, then maybe the step through makes more sense. But honestly, this is not bad. Let's test out the brakes. Turbo mode. 17, 19, 20, and brakes. So yeah, the hydraulic disc brakes, I believe these are upgraded hydraulic disc brakes, Star Union 602. So these were specifically made for Lectric. And another reason it has so much stopping power is an increase in the thickness of the rotor, about 28%. So this is a 56 tooth chainring over here. So you definitely notice the amount of torque when you're pedaling. If you combine that with the torque sensor in turbo mode and the throttle, that's just like a lot of torque right off the line. If you're riding through a city, if you're commuting with this thing and you need to get across the intersection once you have the light, this is like the perfect vehicle for that. The design, you know, there's something about the symmetrical lines. The symmetry looks good. The carrying handle is a nice touch, and this also actually doubles as sort of like a stabilizer for the frame. So there's a lot of similar kind of like cargo style e-bikes that they don't have this handle or stabilizer, and it actually makes the frame wobbly once you start adding weight. It's a subtle thing, but it makes such a big difference, and you'd be surprised at how many e-bike companies don't do that. You know, I think this thing is really marketed to campers, van life people, because it can fold up and it's easy to transport. And so, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. But I think it also appeals to city commuters, you know. Again, I'm a huge fan of the XP Lite series. And if you want something that's just has a little bit more power, has a little bit more heft to it, I think the XP4 is definitely like a solid upgrade if you're coming from an XP Lite. All right, guys, let's just do a little street ride. It's a little busy on that side of the trail with all the sightseers and whatnot. So we'll just kind of like ride it through the lots, see what that's about. Yeah, so I am on the 750 watt version of this bike, which is very nice. So yeah, this would be a really good commuter. It's just super smooth. Like, I think I'm going up an incline over here, and it's kind of handling it well, no throttle, doing a little bit of pedaling, taking a little bit of effort, but it's doing it, right? It's handling that slight incline, no problem. Right now, I am at 20 miles per hour, full throttle, full pedal, on turbo mode. Let's kick the gearing up a little bit. I think the torque sensor with this sort of like straight road, casual riding, it just feels really, really good. Very natural. I feel like I am getting a little bit of exercise. Yeah, I think the 750 is really ideal for this kind of open road, you know, bike lane. Not really for keeping up with traffic or like riding in traffic necessarily, but just to like climb up this little bit of an incline here, a little bit of a slope. Can handle it pretty well. And if you need a little bit more, you hit the throttle and it gives you a little bit more. In terms of comfort, super comfortable. I mean, obviously I'm on like smooth pavement, but there are, you know, little cracks in the road, little obstacles, some rocks and things like that. And no issues, even though it is a hardtail. Doesn't feel that bad. I think we're gonna make a left over here. Yeah, I mean, it's really ideal for like this smooth pavement. Not really like an off-road bike, so just keep that in mind.
So we're here on this trail here with the XP4, the 750 watt variant. I have it already up in turbo mode, and it's yeah, it's definitely turbo. Going through all like these trails, I mean, this bike, this is exactly what it's meant for. A little bit of dirt, a little bit of loose stuff, and then pavement. With the tire having the smooth center patch and having a more aggressive sidewall, this is home for this bike right here. I mean, they couldn't have picked a better place for us to take these out. The only thing that's weird for me personally is the throttle being on the left side instead of the right is a little different than what I'm used to, but I get used to it. So going through all the modes, the biggest difference is going from Sport Plus, it's still pretty tame, and then as soon as you kick it up in Turbo, I mean, man, there's really a massive increase in power. The brakes, they feel really good, really stable. With this new 8-speed shifter that they have implemented, you have all of the gearing range that you could possibly ever ask for. Definitely love it. I mean, coming from Lectric, they always keep it budget and quality, which you really don't think that those two words go together very well, but for Lectric, they somehow make it work. If you're looking for a beginner e-bike and or something just to commute, Lectric has definitely got all of those bases covered. And then even if you're more of a seasoned rider, but you have like a smaller vehicle, they make a lot of folding options. If you're a camper, they make endless options for all different types of people.